right, so I have made a Google Doc for you. Universal design is for everyone, and another word for that is differentiation. I put in some resources here so that you can go back to them if you decide to use some of these tools, and you can see what the background is. But in 2010, Universal Design for Learning was part of Common Core and the United States Technology Plan. And recently, President Obama re-upped the law with Every Student Success Act, ESSA. And you know what? I'm just gonna, while I'm talking about this, I'm gonna make it a lot bigger. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. And so this is just information, but background information is Universal Design for Learning, or differentiation, is part of our K-12 education law. It's also part of secondary ed, and that came into being in 2008. And if you go back even further, it's the Americans for Disability Act. So there is some teeth to this law, and it really will help all of us to start using it more and more in our classrooms for our challenged learners. So I just want to explain what this Google Doc is, and then I'll come back and start going through it a little bit more systematically. But the programs and links that I've chosen here are all about differentiation or universal design for learning. So I'm going to touch on Reading Rockets, which is a great elementary school program. I'm going to look at extensions to differentiate, like spell check, grammar check, how to listen to a doc, how to speak and have the text happen, and a site that I like, Readability. I'm also going to talk about differentiating with code, and really I'm going to show you one of my favorite code activities, and I used it with a nonverbal autistic boy, and he just flew with this without having any directions. Alice, have you talked about Math Playground?
I have not.
Okay, so I'm going to show you that because it's a great way to differentiate your math centers. And then I'm going to talk about different ways of assessing. And some of your school districts may have Read, Write, and Google Docs. I'll talk about that and demonstrate it, but I'll also show you the tools that a company called Text Help has embedded in the Chrome and then Chrome Docs. And I'm going to start with CAST, and I'm going to head back up here. Can I just have, Alice told me last night the representation is K-12, people who teach science, elementary people, and a special educator. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, just go ahead, jump in and stop. I can answer questions throughout. How many people, show of hands, have heard of CAST, C-A-S-T?
Nobody.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to head out to the CAST website. And CAST is an organization that is all about universal design for learning and assistive technology. And they are located right in Cambridge, Mass. So sometimes you'll find that they do workshops in our area, but they also provide webinars. So this is a quick 4 minutes. Oh, are you going to be able to hear this, Alice? Yes?
Yes.
Teacher needs to meet a curriculum goal, and she's got a very diverse group of students. And so does this teacher. And this one. Most do. In fact, research shows that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. What does this mean for teachers of today? Classrooms are highly diverse, and curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet this diversity. Universal design for learning is an approach to curriculum that minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Whoa, that's a fancy term. Universal design for learning. Let's unpack it a bit. Let's think about the word universal. By universal, we mean curriculum that can be used and understood by everyone. Each learner in a classroom brings her own background, strengths, needs, and interests. Curriculum should provide genuine learning opportunities for each and every student. Now let's think about the word learning. Learning is not one thing. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have three broad networks. One for recognition, the what of learning, one for skills and strategies, the how of learning, and one for caring and prioritizing, the why of learning. Students need to gain knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm for learning, and a curriculum needs to help them do all three. But every learner is unique, and one size does not fit all. So how do we make a curriculum that challenges and engages diverse learners? This is where the word design comes in. A universally designed building is planned to be flexible and to accommodate all kinds of users, with and without disabilities. It turns out that if you design for those in the margins, your building works better for everyone. Curb cuts and ramps are used by people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, and people on bikes. Captioning on TV serves people who are deaf, people learning English, people in gyms, and spouses who get to sleep at different times. UDL takes this idea and applies it to the design of flexible curriculum. UDL goes beyond access because we need to build in support and challenge. So how do we use the UDL framework to make learning goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone? First, ask yourself, what is my goal? What do I want my students to know, do, and care about? Then ask, what barriers in the classroom might interfere with my diverse students reaching these goals? To eliminate the barriers, use the 3 UDL principles to create flexible paths to learning so that each student can progress. Number 1, provide multiple means of representation. Present content and information in multiple media and provide varied supports. Use graphics and animation, highlight the critical features, activate background knowledge, and support vocabulary so that students can acquire the knowledge being taught. Number 2, provide multiple means of action and expression. Give students plenty of options for expressing what they know and provide models, feedback, and supports for their different levels of proficiency. Number 3, provide multiple means of engagement. What fires up one student won't fire up another. Give students choices to fuel their interest and autonomy. Help them risk mistakes and learn from them. If they love learning, they will persist through challenges. And remember, always keep in mind the learning goal. Get rid of barriers caused by the curriculum and keep the challenge where it belongs. And that's it. Okay, quick recap. Show the information in different ways. Allow your students to approach learning tasks and demonstrate what they know in different ways, and offer options that engage students and keep their interest. Universal design for learning equals learning opportunities for all. For more information on UDL, go to www.cast.org.
So I'm imagining many of you were nodding your heads and saying, yeah, that happens in my classroom. And all the tools that Alice is sharing with you this week are ways to support that differentiation in your classrooms. Any questions about that before I keep going? So I'm going to show you where some definite resources are. I'm going to start with Reading Rockets, and I used to underline words and have the link embedded, but I found that sometimes the links change, and this way you'd be able to see that you're looking for Reading Rockets if that ever happens in the next few months.
And she's going to share this doc with us.
Yes. Yes. So that's another way of differentiating and making things accessible to your students. Share the notes so that they can take notes right, along with your instruction. So this is a great resource for teachers. There are a zillion things in here that explain universal design for learning. There are links for materials that you can use. And this really talks about the young readers. So I just wanted you to be aware of that one. In that website, it explains more about differentiation. And go ahead.
Here, I just want to point something out. Notice that she's using a Google Doc like a web page that we talked a little bit about. She's using it as a launch point. Right? Thanks, Cheryl. Sorry.
No, that's fine. And so as you and your school get more into Google Docs and Google for Education, as you're designing your lessons or resources, it's so easy to share them with students and no more writing down those long URLs and then having students type a URL to get into the material. So this just really explains step by step that differentiation piece. So again, great for young readers. I want to show you some extensions to help differentiate. Alice, have you shown them where to go to the Chrome store?
Yes, we did that yesterday.
Okay, so some of the extensions that I have are extensions and some of them are apps. Extensions open right up on the page that I'm particularly using, and apps open up in their own page. So under tools, I'm going to go back and forth between what's in a Google Doc and then what's in some extensions. But we have spelling and something called document outline, which is fairly new. And this document outline helps students who need to have more organization. So I haven't added any headers to this that would help, but when you're working with students, you could design a template for them that would have introduction, 3 supporting ideas, conclusion, and it would all come up out here on the outline and show them that they need to have a process for filling that work in. Another tool is word count. And I don't know, I work in a high school resource room and my students use that all the time when they are crafting their assignments. Alice, have you shown voice typing?
I have not.
Okay. Well, let me get to my spot down here.
Now, Cheryl, these things that you're talking about so far, those are not extensions, right? Because those are already in part of Google and Google Docs, right?
Yes, that is true. That is true. And what I want to say about that is last school year, at the beginning of the school year, these, the voice typing, for example, was a standalone extension or part of the Chrome, and then it got assimilated into their tools. So it's something you just constantly have to keep up with. You'll see different people blog or Twitter about, oh, you know, voice typing is now part of a Google Doc because it changes day to day. So the nice part about it is I don't have to go and find an extension and open that up. The voice typing is right here. So I'm going to demonstrate. I've made this font size a little bit bigger. So when I click under tools and voice typing, I'm glad I can come to your class and join the Hangout. So you see the little microphone on the left. I click to turn it on and off. So you'll notice that I spoke slowly, I enunciated. When I'm teaching kids to use this, especially at high school, it's different and they don't want to appear different to their peers. But if you teach it and teach them to speak slowly and enunciate, put a period, wait and do your editing at the end, and model it. If we're not modeling these tools, our students are never going to use them. But our students who need these tools in order to access the content in the curriculum need to have a safe place to do that. And again, this came into a Google Doc without an extension, which made it available to everybody. And my students really didn't start using it until about March. So they had it available in September, and then maybe in December it became available as a voice tool right under the toolbar. And I wouldn't say that they consistently use it, but when they are working on answering questions in a test or working on answering an essay, that they begin to use this because they'll start talking to me about what they're going to write. And then the natural thing is, why don't you just say it? And then, we can go back and add transitional phrases or whatever. But I work with LD population and some autistic students with autism, and this really has helped out a lot because they like to talk, and the talking helps them organize their ideas. Any questions?
Cheryl, this is Bob. I'm the special ed teacher in the group here. So, does the speech to text learn the person's like nuances of their speech? Because you know, as I do that, and everybody in this room, that we have a lot of students that may have speech impediment, they may have a stammer in their voice, they may have a condition that may not be as user-friendly with the microphone.
Right. This is not like Drag and Dictate that would learn a lot of speech patterns. And that's why I really focus on students speaking slowly and enunciating and, taking their time, not trying to speak quickly. It won't be the be all and end all for everyone, but it certainly does meet a lot of needs for many students. But really good question.
I would also say it would be a pretty great tool to do teacher comments with.
Yes.
Right? You could sit at home on your couch and talk your teacher comments and copy and paste them into your grade book.
I think under comments, yeah. I think, isn't there an extension for that with, Kaizena? Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, even in a Google Doc, if you just sit there and speak your comments, and we use Power School, we have to put comments in.
Yep.
At least you could copy and paste them in, right?
Right, that's right. So you're just saying go through all your students, make your comments, and then, yeah. Good idea.
So
All
do it.
right, so I'm gonna go back up and find some of the extensions that I've added. So up at the top is convert text to speech. It's this little speaker. Can everybody see where my pointer is?
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe this particular one starts at the beginning of the passage, even though I'm just going to highlight a sentence.
Universal design is everyone UDL was identified in common core.
So that particular one, I think it's really slow because of the size of my text. I'm not positive. I'm going to just try that again. See if that made a difference.
Universal design is for.
Well, it was a lot faster this morning when I tried that.
Probably because of the Hangout.
Okay. All right. That's a good idea. So there's that information, that extension right there. Another extension that I want to show is, let's see, one voice note. Voice note is an app, and it opens up into its own page. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to choose your language. So I chose English. I could have.
We're not seeing that if you're demoing it.
Oh.
We're just seeing
Okay.
your,
Thank you. Let me see if I can share.
we just see your Google Doc still.
Yep.
Here's you.
There's me. Here's voice note. All right. Now are you seeing?
So this is, remember yesterday we looked at extensions. I didn't really go into apps, but there is this whole separate app section.
Yep.
Run separately, but in Chrome.
All right. So there's this microphone. I just clicked on the microphone. Do you see the grayed out sentence streaming across the top?
No,
Okay. Well, on my screen, there's a grayed out sentence that's streamed across the top.
we see this is the best way for students to monitor their language in black.
There we go. I had to hit stop on the microphone. So now do you see the microphone? I just click on the microphone. Do you see that yet? No.
We see the microphone, but we don't see you clicking. There, now we do.
All right. I had two notes open. Sorry about that. So I'm going to click on this and you'll see until I stop recording, you'll see the sentence as I speak. Maybe. You will see the sentence as I speak, grayed out at the top.
Yep.
Okay. So this is an application, a separate page. Then the student would be able to save it as a file. You can change fonts and things. You can check. The part that's missing for me is that it can't speak back to me. So if I were a student who needed that feedback, I'd have to go into another program. Any questions on that?
Is that its own document, or does that say,
Yes.
it doesn't say it as a Google Doc?
It's its own document. So if I wanted to bring it into Google, I would do the copy. And I'm going to have to go back and share my.
So you'd have to copy and paste it.
Cheryl, would you mind, when you said that it won't speak back, do you mean read back what the, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
All right. So I'm going to
thank you.
stop sharing that doc and go back to my.
So it's a little bit, while you're doing that, Cheryl, it's a little bit of an art to learn how to do the sharing of documents and running web pages and sharing videos, and all of that sucks bandwidth. So like sometimes your computer just kind of grinds to a halt.
Yeah. So I'm just going to get rid of this. No, I won't get rid of that. I'm going to add the sentence that I just copied from voice note. And now it's here. I could have it read back to me. And maybe this is a good time to, no, I'm going to do one more thing. I can have it read back to me in read write, which is a paid subscription. So I'm going to hold off on that. Alice, did you explain clearly as an extension or readability? Okay, so I apologize. I made this kind of small. If I'm presenting, here it is. So readability is an extension that lives on my bookmark bar right above it, and it's a red couch. And the way I use this is I'm going to go to a Huffington Post article, and it's all about, is your child ready for kindergarten? I'm a student. I'm getting really distracted with, oh, there's Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, and now there's all these articles about, I'm forgetting about what I need to read. So my students love readability. Clearly does some of the same things, but on readability, I click read now. I could also read later. I could send it to my Kindle, but I'm going to click read now. And it takes a few seconds because it's a cloud extension. And now you'll notice that everything's been stripped from around the article. Pretty nice. It also says it will take you 2 minutes to read. I have the option of, again, this is for differentiation. I can change from a white background to a black background. Some of your readers like that. I can change the font size, and I can change the width of the article. So these are all things that really help Universal Design for Learning because your student is more engaged and has a lot of choice. Questions?
Is this something that you,
It's a Chrome extension.
would it work on an iPad?
So,
or kids individually?
I think it, do you know if it works on the iPad? Clearly does. I know clearly does.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Clearly works in Safari. In Safari, actually, on the iPad, when you're in your URL bar, there's a little thing that says Reader View.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing as this. Yep.
There's a couple other options you have. You could recommend this article, and you can also share, send, or download.
So you can share it with Clearly or with Readability already turned on.
Can you highlight it and?
No. But that's a great question. Because you can highlight in your Google Doc. So if you copy that article, and you're seeing my page right now, right? Yes. Okay, if you copied your article and put it into a Google Doc, then you would be able to highlight it. And the way that you would do that is through Tools and, oh no, never mind. It used to be through Tools. It's in Add-ons. Have you talked about Add-ons?
I have not.
Okay. So Add-ons is probably another half hour. This is what, and I explained that some of the things that are extensions are now part of Google Docs, and some of the things that were were extensions are now in add-ons. But anyways, under the add-ons, you have to actually go to get an add-on, which I could demonstrate in a second. But so
Let me say one thing. What's different about extensions and an add-on is this add-on only works in Google Docs. It's not a more global extension, works with Chrome. Hopefully that helps. Sorry, Cheryl, go ahead.
So here I have my highlighting tools under Text Help Study Skills. And when I select that, you have to allow access to your doc before you can have this work. But then I can select different colors to be different parts of my highlighting. And you'll notice I have some things highlighted already in my doc. And for my elementary people, I highlighted some categories of animals, plants, and numbers. So what I have to do is collect my highlights and remember that this is a cloud program, so that it takes a while, and some days it works, and I may or may not, with the amount of bandwidth the Hangout is using, I click on collect highlights. It's been created in a new doc here. Do you see well, not yet. Do you see the highlights now?
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
All right. So once you get that, I've already made one over here with a key.
We get to make.
Once you get the highlights, then you can create your key, which I did for the animals, plants, and numbers. So cat, dog, and cow are animals. Plants, the tree, and numbers. 5 + 3 is, I didn't put the answer in. So you could, with a little bit of work, copy an article that you put into readability, then add some highlights to it and do that work there. Also, if you are back in the article and you use your convert text to speech, this is going to be pretty slow, but really slow. Trust me. But that's another option too. So I guess the one big message is provide some options for your students, demonstrate some of these for them to use. Alice, I'm running out of time here.
Okay. It's
I'm
up to you. We're not committed to, if you want to keep going, fine, but if you want to stop, that's okay too. Your
Okay,
choice.
I can keep going for about another 15 minutes. Is that all right?
Everybody? Yep, we're
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right, so those are some extensions and some of the tools. I think I want to show something from code.org, and this is Lightbot. Let me see if I have it open. I don't have it open. So there's a day in December that's worldwide, code.org, and this is a great way to get at your analytical thinkers, your problem solvers, not necessarily your math students. And I'm going to show this demo puzzle. And the background is I worked with a student doing an assistive technology evaluation, and he really likes the computer. So I thought I would try Lightbot with him, and it's a programming game. And all I did was I didn't use any words. He's a nonverbal student, and I showed him, and the program showed him the first thing that he needed to do, and he zoomed through, I don't know, 10 or 12 levels within the space of 15 minutes. And he was a student who needed to have positive reinforcement every 2 to 3 minutes. And when I did that evaluation with him, he worked nonstop for the 20 minutes. And then he kind of sat up and paused himself and asked for one of his reinforcers. So you just never know what's going to work with a student, and that's why I'm showing you this. Are you seeing my little Lightbot critter on the screen?
Yeah.
Alice?
Yes, we can see it.
Did I lose you?
We're here.
Okay, no, I had my sound off because of the music. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to do the first command, the first program. So I read these directions to him, and then I didn't read anything else after this because it's clearly telling me what to do. So he's past that level. New commands. So the first time I think he tried all the commands, and then I showed him to run it. And and then we reset it. And then he was more thoughtful. And then he tried the commands, and then he ran the program to see if it turned him the correct way. Any questions on this? There is a whole curriculum, a whole year's worth of material at code.org. So give that a try when you're looking at trying to engage some of your most reluctant learners. Math questions on that?
Was it Logbot, Cheryl? The
Like But when you go to code.org, there's all kinds of instruction on how to make apps. And, you know, kids are really quick at this. There's a Star Wars game. And I say they're games, but they're all about coding. And if you're familiar with Scratch, Scratch is the visual prompts of coding. And if kids are able to do Scratch and then they turn that into code, they can start doing these other more advanced code programs. So check out code.org. Math Playground was designed by a friend of ours, Colleen King. And it's going to run really slowly. So I'm just going to do a quick review of it. He has math games for everything, logic, algebra, pre-algebra. So check this out because she's been very thoughtful about this, and she's gone through intensive work to keep this a safe site for kids. Some of the math games that you search and find, you know, are more of the game and not being very thoughtful. But she's really done an excellent job here with keeping this a safe site and also having a nice progression of math. So Math Playground. Alice, have you talked about different ways of assessing, like quiz, Quizlet, Kahoot, Pear Deck?
We've done Pear Deck.
Okay.
We haven't done, well, we talked a little bit about Kahoot. We haven't, I think some people know Quizlet, but not everybody. So about half the room knows Quizlet.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna do forms later today.
All right, good. I found a couple really good movies of YouTubes about recent changes in forms. So those are just at the bottom here. Have you ever seen the Sink Sisters, Alice?
I have not.
They are a hoot. Anyways, it'll be a good resource for later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Quizlet. I didn't open up, but let me see if my password is saved in this. Yes, it is. So what's great about Quizlet is I have a student who's going into early childhood, so I made her a set of terms. She can listen to the terms. She can play the audio. She can learn them. There's a test. We use this a lot in our all of our classes. And let me just, we change it to a multiple choice and create a new test. And so students go through and they answer these questions and then they get a score, and teachers count this as a homework assignment if they get a 90 or better. So you can use this. Let me get back here. You can use this just as text, or let's see if I can.
Certifies that a set of standards has been met by an early childhood program.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to show you. You can also add pictures and images to, let me go, U.S. history. All right, this is our, from our class here, the American Revolution. And so we have the term that they need to practice. We have an image that goes with it. And so for your visual learners, this is really good. For your auditory learners, they can play the audio for this and they can test themselves. And Quizlet has a new live version that you can play as like a Jeopardy game in a classroom. So multiple ways of engaging kids and getting them to practice for fluency. Questions? If you use the images that they have available or that are available through their search, you can use this program as a free program, but our district pays for the updated teacher classroom version so that we can add our own images to Quizlet. But there's a free version and or you can update it. So when you're doing when you're looking at universal design and differentiating, find different ways of asking kids to demonstrate their knowledge. Okay, we have science people in the room. I'm going to show you Science Writer, which is a CAST program. And let's see. It has text-to-speech in the document. It's a document for making a lab report. They can keep information for a journal. It has these 3 little characters who give them verbal and visual help. And let me just see the part of we'll do a little bit of the
Welcome
tour.
to the CAST Science Writer.
Can you
Use
can't
this
see
site
this.
to help you through the process of writing a science or lab report.
You see it?
Here are
Yeah.
some of the features that are available for you to use.
I'm not going to expand it then.
Science Writer breaks the task of writing a report into small, less overwhelming pieces, then steps you through the process of drafting, revising, and editing your science report. This is bound to improve the quality of your writing. Animated characters Max and Sam show how they write a science report and talk about how they did it. Echo the Gecko helps clarify the directions on each screen. On the draft screens, click on the Help Me Get Started button to have the sections of the report divided into smaller parts and have sentence starters appear to help you get started writing. On the Revise and Edit screens, you can use the checklist to help you check your work for content and grammar errors. Text Help toolbar can be used to check your writing by having it read back to you or to read and translate directions. You can also use this toolbar to get definitions and translations of words.
I'm going to stop that right there, but it gives you a sense of how to differentiate and how CAST can help differentiate. I'm going to leave there. We used this Science Writer with our freshmen coming into science and writing their lab reports. It was just a great way to scaffold and give some of those challenged learners that more in-depth help than, okay, it's time to write a lab report.
Do you upload the instructions or do they have like preset instructions on this is how to write a procedure?
It's the general instructions for how to write your observation, general instructions for how to write a conclusion, and the animated figures ask general questions. You know, did you use time and dates? Did you list all the materials you used? You know, kind of those general things that you would expect the kids to kind of mentally go through. Good question. And we used it in the freshman science. You know, it gave kids a good ground level experience on how to write a lab report that was, really quite full in terms of all the information and all the details. The only thing that it doesn't have in Science Writer, it didn't have a way to make a graph. And so for that, we, used Make a Graph, and the kids had to turn in their lab report with an additional graph from the Make a Graph website. And it was all done through email. So, that was another piece that was really great. The teacher could, look at it through email and not have 10 reports that kids lost because, I started it and then I lost it and all of that. So it's just a really great tool from CAST. All right, so now I want to, I'll get a little bit into Read Write. Does anybody know if your district has purchased the program Read Write?
Yes, we have one.
Okay, all right. I'll put a plug in for Read Write. It's great, and there is a way that school districts in Maine can purchase it at a really good price through Actum. Alice, have you talked about Actum?
Nope. Well, a little bit, maybe, but.
Okay, well, just so that people know, if you're looking to purchase it, talk to your tech director or principal, and there's a really good price point from that you can get it through Actum. It's a subscription, and I think it's probably $3 per student, and you have to enroll your whole student body. But if you bought Read Write per like an individual, it's like $150 for a subscription to it. So schools get a really good price on it. All right, so I'm going to back up for a minute and say Text Help Highlighting Tools was an add-on that we used. And Text Help is the company that built Read Write. So my school district has purchased Read Write, and it has this little purple puzzle piece. And when I click on the puzzle piece, it drops down a whole new menu for me. And so this is where I designed this table, and then I just added some of the images, and I used the word prediction in this table. So let me just go through the toolbar. This is for word prediction. Again, this is not going to be for all learners, but you'll notice that it dropped down some words for me to choose. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see.
First, most, thing, is, two,
So I typed in the word eat. I'm going to type an I, C, because we all know the most important thing to do in the summer is to eat
ice cream,
ice cream. Oh, ice cream cone, sure.
cone,
So this is a word prediction part of Read Write. It's not going to be for every student, but it's going to be for your reluctant writers. It is very slow. There's no way to speed it up. If you needed to be able to manipulate those kind of details, then you would go to a program called Co-Writer, Co-Reader, which is about, well, I don't know, 5 years ago, it used to be $300. So word prediction is available. It is slow. It is clunky, but it's not designed for us. It's designed for those challenged learners. So I'm going to go to the next part of that, the dictionary. And let me find ice cream. There's no match.
ice cream,
But will say the word for me. I'm going to go to the picture dictionary, and it populated all of these variations of ice cream. And I want to put the ice cream in my table. And you'll notice that I better turn off the word prediction. Notice that it put it in the wrong place. I want it to, but now I'm on 2 pages here. So in looking at Read Write, it's a great K-12 program because it has the ability to put in these great pictures. Also, I can highlight a sentence and have it read to me.
The most important thing is to eat ice cream cone.
I can speak my favorite ice cream this week is coffee ice cream. So I'm turning off the microphone. I can translate. So if you have some ELL students in your classroom, this might be a tool that you would use. I have the highlighters. Now remember in our add-ons, I had the text help highlighting tools. This is what it looks like, and this is what it looks like in your Read Write. I can sweep all my highlights and clear them. Remember, it's a cloud-based program, so it's going from my computer out to the servers, wherever they are. Can look up, oh, I can make a vocabulary list. Oh, that was a new one. And this is a new one, Alice.
Yes, it is.
I did not even know that was here. The voice note.
That's cool.
Yeah. You did a nice job on this document. Is it opening to a new? You did a nice job. I'm not sure.
Opening another, oh, look, it puts it right in a Google Doc. Ooh.
Do you see it?
That's the next tab. I think.
This-
Oh, the next tab is making up. Oh.
Oh, wow. Wow. That took all my vocabulary and put it in a list. Nice. That's a new one.
I don't know where that went to, the voice. Oh, insert, try insert.
Yeah. Where did the recording go? Now I've lost it. I don't know. I may have too much going on right now.
I think you probably do. You have a lot of tabs open.
Okay. One last extension I want to wait. It's an add-on. I take that back. One last add-on I want to show you is if you have a document or a Google Doc, information in a Google Doc, under the add-ons, there's something called a word cloud generator. This is great for students who need help summarizing. So I'm going to create a word cloud. It's going to ask me permission, to allow it to work. And it just created this word cloud based on the words in my document. So if you had an article and you put it into a Google Doc and the student could create a word cloud, this would help them to be able to summarize the most important information from that article. Yeah, another nice way to differentiate. Also, the word cloud gives you a word count and frequency for the number of words that came up.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
But it's a great, try to think of different ways to use the tools to, engage kids and motivate them. The one last thing that Read Write can do, if I'm out in an article, let's see, Huffington Post.
So you could do a word cloud from that.
Yeah.
Copy, paste it into your Google Doc, do your word cloud.
Yeah, usually if you're on a web page in Read Write, you get a little RW in the URL, and you can have that article read to you with your Read Write, but I don't see that happening right today. So, any questions?
Huge.
Yeah.
That
So,
is awesome, Cheryl.
thank you. Create a Google Doc, and it can be your website. Make your instruction and notes available to kids so that they can summarize and use some of these great tools and lighten their workload.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. There we go. Stop sharing.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. A lot of great stuff in there to percolate. Luckily, they're going to have some time to digest this afternoon.
All right. And if you have any questions, just Alice, you put my email. I'll put my email right on that document.
Okay, and you're going to share that with me, or are you going to just send me the link, or?
I thought I did, but I will send
Oh,
you
you
the
got
link.
it. I haven't looked at my email.
Yeah, I'll send you the link just to be sure.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
So Cheryl, oh, she went out. Okay. So I'm going to now stop the broadcast.